Hello, farmers. It's Trevor here, and I am back for another episode of Vall Farmer Multifruit. And we are standing a few feet away from where I was when we left the last episode. And if you remember, or if you watched it, we expanded this field a little bit, made it a nice straight line, and we are ready to do some spraying. So, without further ado, I will get in the tractor and start it back up. Turned it off so it wouldn't make so much noise. As you can see, I think I might want to move this course over a little bit more. No sense in not spraying the whole thing or overspraying. Doubt it'll make much difference, but what the heck. Alright, there we go. We backed that thing into the bushes enough, so let me, course plays on. Let's set the cruise control and start doing some spraying. So this should make this field a lot easier to spray in the sense of, it's going to be at least one long straight line, and that other end will probably be a bit of a mess, but we'll see what happens when we get down to it. So let me spray these fields, do them in fast forward mode. I'm going to spray every field we have once again, but first I'm going to spray the two fields that aren't planted yet and get them planted, I think. So, because I was thinking about it, we need to get the care tires on, and I don't want to. I'm going to do this little cheaty. There we go. Turn this way. Come down this way to here. Very good. See, now I'm not getting those messages about no field. Last time I made that field headland a little bit bigger there. So we're not getting that message anymore. All right, well, let me fast forward and probably hop out of the cab here pretty shortly. Let's see how we did, like on this end. Just do the same thing one more time. Now that we don't have trees to worry about. Yeah, this actually might turn out kind of okay, huh? We're just going to spray as we go. Yeah, see that? We're wasting a bit, but if this red line is in this field or on the outside of this field, that means we probably made it a lot more efficient. Look at that. Let me hop out of the cab so you can maybe even see better. Look at that. Damn. It's like I knew what I was doing. Isn't it good when life works out that way? So many times in life you get stuck at that red light and life just doesn't seem that good. It seems like everything's going against you that day. And then something like that happens for you where you just can't help but smile. All right, well, let me go be fool of myself in fast forward mode. Alrighty, we have gotten those 2 fields sprayed, and I was thinking about it more. The other fields haven't grown at all yet, so there's certainly not going to be a lot of sense in spraying them. Let's go over here to our seed bin and refill this guy with seeds, and then let's take a look. There you go. See, if we zoom in on that, that's, I hold it, oops, if I hold it close, you can see that's definitely still the green. Plus I was just out there and no signs of growth. Now I wanted to show you this time, to try to avoid crops half growing, I've turned the plant growth off. I truly hope I remember, hope to turn it back on. I like to forget that. And if we look, soil composition, so this field, 53 and 56 are both, you know, first level of fertilization, and they'll have the second after we plant here. But what I wanted to do was, well, I guess we can look at this. Well, let's look at this one, because now this one has the names. That's why we're going to look at this one. Growth. And then plus we can see that the millet is down here and the rye is up here. So we want triticale and spelt. I have no idea whatsoever if there is some advantage to one over the other. So I don't know what to say about that, but let's start out with spelt just because it's next on the list, you know? All right, so spelt is going to be, that's wheat, grass, I think that's oats, that's rye, there we go, spelt. So we now have spelt. Does it say, yep, there it says it up top on the glance mod, or I'm sorry, that's, what do I have now, the inspector mod? It's too early in the morning. But anyway, we're going to plant something in this field. And we'll see what it looks like and if it's any different than wheat. Since apparently spelt is some kind of a... similar to wheat in some way. Let's turn this guy back on. Get them unfolding. Let's hit A to auto adjust. And I can see I need to move it over just a bit. And 6.6. I'm going to bring that down. 6.4. Wonderful. Move it all the way over. That's pretty good. There we go. All right, let's plant some spelt. And that, by the way, that's not some German word. I mean, that is... You know, like sometimes you get these maps that are made by a German or somebody foreign, and you get the... Apparently that is an English name for something. I mean, it came right up on Google, if you Google it. And it wasn't, you know... I didn't really need to turn that off, did I? Alright, so we're going to go around and do a couple headlands. Yeah, I really should do these headlands afterwards, I guess, but I don't know. Without the crop destruction, doing the, you know, it doesn't hurt to, you know, to drive on it. It sort of makes it easier to see in the end what you've actually planted. Alright, well let me run around fast forward. Once again, if anything interesting happens, I'll let you guys know. Here we go, guys. We have spelt in the field. Have to take a gander and see what it looks like, huh? But hey, it's a new crop. I can honestly, I'm pretty sure I've never, let's fold this thing up. Pretty sure I've never planted spelt before in Farm Sim. You know, I'm gonna leave that GPS on. That's right. Now, what I have to try to remember is field 6. I'm sorry, field 56. I put the course play course for 6. So I'm hoping I remember 6 and 56. Now this field probably doesn't make too much difference as far as, yeah, let's go up here. Let's get this in because I can't do two things at once, like talk and. All right, so there we go. So we got that. Let's turn A on, and then I guess I could have been unfolding this guy, huh? And then I think again, I like to do the longest straightest. To be honest, it probably doesn't make too much difference with this planter, but we got to go around and do a headland or two anyway. So when we get up to that other corner, I'll get it straight. So. All right, so lower it down, turn it on. And I didn't change the type. Let's go raise it back up, turn it off, back it up. There we go. So that should be, let's do our best to say it correctly. Oops. Triticale. Triticale. If it didn't have the E, I'd try triticale, but triticale. Alright, and that's the right symbol anyway, so. Alright, so let's lower this back down. Hopefully that resets it. I'm pretty sure it will. And there we go. So we're off again. So let me, fast forward. It's not going to be much different than we just saw for the last 2 minutes. Alright, once again, I can honestly say I don't think I've ever planted triticale, but now we have. And I have reminded myself at least 12 times to make sure that I come in here and turn plant growth back on. So we'll put it back to normal, and let's head back over here real quick. And yep, there we go. Whoops. See, this is not right. See how I'm on fruit types 2, but then it's showing. Finally, I caught it on camera, you know, while I'm looking at it. It's, you know, this is the triticale, and this is the location it would be if we had fruit type 2. And then this isn't barley that we just planted up here. This is that spelt. So if we come off of it and come back, there's triticale and whatnot. And then if we switch again, it switches okay. You know, these are blank, but that's, I guess, because, you know, you only have so many colors. So, but now 57, yeah, that's, what is in 57? I don't know. Yeah, see, let's go over this way and then jump into fruit types 1. And let's come back to growth. Let's keep going. Yeah, it looks like, why does it look like nothing is in those fields? Did I not plant those fields yet? Because I'm a knucklehead? No, I did. Because how would my... Yeah, see what I'm saying? Like, this is just off, you know? Oh, no, that's right. Those fields planted... Oh, I'm sorry. If we come over to field 13, you'll see... There we go. Yeah, see, we got wheat in field 13. All right, anyway, that's enough time spent on that. Field 13 looks like it grew, didn't it? Yeah, I think we said that before. So, but I'm going to hold off on spraying that. If you look, it needs to be sprayed. It's the second level. It's the medium blue down there. But let's wait till these other fields grow. Not 100% sure. It's just I think there's a timing thing that seems to be going on where it doesn't let the field grow within a certain period of time or something. Let's go on the other side of these trees. Here we go. Let's turn this off. And yeah, this is, get out here, right? Yep. What's that machine there? Wheat, barley. Why am I not oh, this is that's the pig fodder machine. All right, so anyway. And then we have the TMR machine down here. So the biggest thing we need is for these grass fields to grow. Out of the way, dog. What are you doing out in the middle of the night anyway? Cat's out in the middle of the night. Sunbathing. Sleeping in the middle of the driveway, whatever he's doing. Alright. Can we get in there without... Getting a little better at backing up like that. Alright, so what are we going to do next? I'll put this weight away. I think we're going to fast forward a little time here real quickly. There we go. Drop that weight off. Guys, I think it's time to go get some animals. Let's make it daylight out. Let's turn this tractor off and turn the lights off. And hop out, and I'm just going to do the Control R thing, and let's get it to like 6 o'clock, which is plenty of daylight, I think. There we go. So let's take another look at our fields and see if they grew. Look, we got a... Oh wait, you know what? We're in the middle of growing. See that? So let's hit escape again, come back. Yep, there we go. So we got a nice even growth. Field 13. I don't know if that got up to the next growth stage or not, but yeah, it looks like all of this grew at the same time, right? Let's run out here real quick. The 56, oh yeah, look at that, it grew that fast. Triticale, which is kind of good. So we can go, I think let me get the spraying done. And then after we get the spraying done, I think we'll probably call it an episode there. But the next episode will be getting some animals, I hope. Let's take a look at this real quick because I want to try to stay on top. Oh, look, we got a high price going down. Gold Pacific grain. We're not going to get pigs this time. We'll hold off on pigs. And look, we also have a good soybean price going down. So let's go take care of that. So we want to go to Golden Pacific grain. Oh, Goldcrest Pacific grain. So where is Goldcrest Pacific grain? Goldcrest Pacific grain is, that's right, down the end of the road here. All right, I'll be back in 1 second and we'll get started running around. I ran over here, jumped in the tractor before I hit the record button. Needed to take a little break there. But let's get over here and get this wagon hooked up. Yeah. All right, let's get over here. What was it, sunflowers? I'm not sure what matters which one we do first, but Golden Pacific grain, I know where it's at right now, and it was canola. Sorry. Yeah, canola. Let's come right back to canola. No. All right, so just one load. So let me run this here, and then we'll run, oh, the Maplefield farm. We'll run, we might do a train ride for that, huh? So we'll run up there, and we'll sell some soybeans next. Talk to you in a second. All right, let's see what we're talking about. Maplefield Farm, all the way over there. So what I think we'll do is we'll take this stuff to the train stations just south of us. So let's just double check. Let's put 9 back on, and then, yep, Maplefield Farm. So let's head over there. To the, well, not Maplefield Farm. Let's head over to the train station, which I think the best way to get there is going to be going this way. That little road, the dirt road by the field. 47. We'll see. I think this will be our first official train ride. I think I rode it around before I did the map, but... And it is a nice long train ride. Yep, see, this should take us right there. And we'll get this stuff sold. Should be another, oh, I forget how much. Well, probably at least, what, 15 grand or something? Or I forget the price right this second. Whatever. It'll be another good chunk of change. That'll put us over 100,000, and get done spraying, I think we'll have enough money to you know, at least get started with a few cows. And I don't want to spend all my money on them, but I'll spend the vast majority on getting that going. Though I do kind of wish we had grass right. Oops, let's get in here and turn this off. And let's run over to the train. I think there's only one train on this map. So, which way does it face? This way. We'll have to pull forward a little bit. There we go. Let's start her up. Hit R. Yep. Soybeans. Wonderful. All right, our first train ride on Vall Farm Multi-Fruit. There we go, for our measly little... You would think it's hardly worth firing up a train for this much. Well, I'm going to hop out because I think that'll give you guys overall a better view of things. Better view of the train ride. Plenty of bridges. Like I said, it's... If you guys aren't playing this map, so far it's proven to be a pretty well done map. There's a couple glitches on the fields that you saw, but I'm not so sure I'd blame that as much on the map maker. I don't know enough about making a whole map to criticize them. I'm sure some of the fault will probably lie with Farm Sim and Giants, but we are heading on the west side of the map. Nothing. Oh yeah, there's our. By the way, this is where we were heading the other day when it came to. This is where the. What would you call it? The log or the lumber mill, as opposed to the sawmill. So this is where if we wanted to sell those logs by train, we would have sold them. There's the lumber mill, and then there's the pallet making thing back behind this building. Nice little forestry area. Well, not even so little. I mean, when you consider it, we're going to go up through this other forestry area. So you have this forestry area. It just has a couple fields up here, and then I think a little bit further ahead is where that, what is it? Gomez Ridge. Yeah, this is Gomez Ridge. So this is where we come up, and we've sold some, a fair amount of our stuff. Gomez has had some pretty good prices there. There's our BGM, which we haven't even gotten into or talked about much yet. But I'm sure we might involve that at some point. And I think we should be, just up in the distance here, we'll be coming up on, once we'll start slowing down. I see it up there, so I'm going to hit the brakes a bit. So I'm going to go blowing past it. This up here is just another little farm. So in other words, if you wanted to do a multiplayer map, I know I think there might even be another one, but there's at least this one. I'll show you what I mean when we get done offloading. Wait for the symbol. Go on, symbol. There we go. The train in Goldcrest has the log carts in front of it. So. But yeah, right up here, as far as I can tell, this is just another little farm. So if you did want to do this multiplayer, I imagine, somebody could take the main farm, somebody could take this one. Now this one doesn't have animals necessarily right near it, but hey, I guess you can't have everything, right? I don't even know if can you have two sets of animals? But I do think in Farm Sim 17 you can have, what do you call it? Separate silos, which I like a lot because, it's just not realistic to magically teleport things across the map through silos. It kind of annoyed me at a few times on different maps. But there you go. Here's like a whole nother forestry area up here. And this is not overly far from where the regular sawmill is. But other than that, I think we just have some fields up here again. Gomez, or field 13's right over there. And as we come this way, we're heading back towards our farm, which is just right over that direction. You can almost see it. There's the shop. There's that Goldcrest where we just sold, and there's the greenhouses are back down over this way by that windmill. By the way, there's our windmill that's making us a few bucks. And then there's town right there, and we took a train ride. So we'll come up here. Let me spin around because I'd like to, most likely I'm going to use these blue. And we'll stop like there so that way, more than likely I'm going to be putting more wheat on there, so we'll have that pretty close. Oops, I just got to turn the train off. I think it goes off automatically. And it's not like turning the train off is going to save us gas or anything, but fuel. All right, here we go. All right, so good. So we got up to, I didn't even pay that much attention to how much, oops, got to turn the thing on. Didn't even pay much attention to how much money we got, but I think it was in the neighborhood of 15,000, because what were we at, like 97,000? Now we're at 13,000, so. Whatever it was, we got over 100 grand, so it's, good thing. Which will let us certainly have enough money to spray these fields and switch over to the care tires. So I don't know if I did that in the last episode, or not last episode, some episode ago. And I'll show you what my plan is again, if I did show it. Forgive me. Go, oop, 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 oop. Let's get the head tracking back turned on. Did I make? Nah, there's no way I'm making that turn. Spin around. Get out of the way, cat. You really want to try to get, if you're going to do this with the head tracking on, you really kind of want to get lined up a little bit close enough that you can, so you can't turn around and look, so you have to use these mirrors, and if you're not at least a little bit lined up, it's going to make this, am I making that? No. See, now, see, I can see the edge of that. I don't know if you guys can see that in that mirror, but that wasn't the best job I ever did, but we got it in there, which to me in itself is a bit impressive. Not to say I'm impressed with myself, but, well, I think I did just say that, didn't I? Well, you know what I mean. It's not overly easy, even though it doesn't look like it should be that hard. Oh, care tires. All right, so let's just back in here. So if we come up to here, I imagine we could sell vehicles from here. I don't know if we get the good price or not, but we should probably turn this guy off. And we'll come over here, and we'll hit R. And we'll hit customize, and oh, look at that. Now it's not charging us for the narrow tires, because I guess we already own the narrow tires, huh? Very nice. So we paid $600 the first time to get these narrow tires, and then I switched back after I had done the spraying the next time. Oops, put it back on. And another thing I would say is watch out for, I would detach anything from your tractor at that point. Before you do that, just seem to disconnect things, and I don't think it helps. I don't know that it hurt anything, but it sort of resets your vehicle when it does that, at least partially. Obviously, it's still dirty and whatnot. What am I doing? We don't want that. What did I do? Oh, good. I'm glad we didn't get that. We want this guy over here. There we go. All right, so we filled him up. That's good. And I don't think it matters where I start, but why don't we start up north and we'll just run around and get all these fields sprayed. And as you can imagine, or might have guessed, we'll listen to some music and we'll get out in the field here and spray it super quick. Alright, so let's get, before we go driving on the crops, let's get this turned on. Looks like we're still on field 56 angle, so which probably could have sprayed that first, huh? Let's hit auto adjust. Let's load up one. Let's hit auto adjust again. Let's move our course all the way over. That looks pretty good. Looks like I hit it pretty much on the head, didn't I? Yep, we boomed out already. Yeah, so I'm happy about that. Let's get this going. I'm very happy about that narrow tires not costing. I mean, while there should be some maintenance expense, you know, once you buy the narrow tires, it's nice to know that you can have the two sets and switch them around, and I think it's pretty realistic. I was very willing to pay the 600 extra bucks each time, just because I think it's going to save us that much money. I was going to go into a whole spiel about we'll know after field 13 if it's worth it, but there's no doubt it's worth paying that 600 bucks, not leaving the tram lines at all. Now, whether that's totally realistic is another debate, but anyway, here we are. All right, well, let me spray this field. Well, let me spray all the fields, and then I'm just going to fast forward right through them all, and I will come back, and probably we'll end the episode there. I think this will have been long enough by the time we get there, so. All right, I'll talk to you guys when I get done this. Okay, well, we got everything sprayed, which is good. Looked at the grass field, and I didn't spray that, though it is already fully sprayed. We sprayed it after it sowed, so, or after it grew, like the first times. In the future, it's going to be a little bit more critical to get out there and spray because it doesn't go through all the normal 4 growth stages before it is ripe. So it only seems to like repeat the last 2. So all right, so there we go. So this was field 13, and this time we don't have any tram lines. So I'm kind of curious, of course, as we talked about in past episodes, do we get, how much more without the tram lines do we get? Now, like I've said before as well, I don't think, let me get this thing off. I don't think that the difference might not even be noticeable. For example, if we had like if it's plus or minus 5% yield and the tram lines cause 10% loss, what we're going to see is, let's just say the last time we did it was a plus 5 yield, and this time will be a minus 5 yield. You might not see any difference. And again, I think the only way around that is to repeat the cycle many times. But hopefully we'll get a number, and if we don't, it's just clear to me that not leaving tram lines when the tires don't cost you anything extra after the first purchase, at least not on this map, it sort of seems to be the way to go. There's no reason not to switch to these care tires, in other words, other than maybe just pure and unadulterated laziness, which I am certainly capable of when it comes to video games in particular, and certainly has been known to happen in my real life as well. So sometimes I'm lazy to the point it takes me more effort to be lazy, which I really try to avoid, but I think that's a little bit of a human nature thing there, huh? All right, so I think this will wrap up the episode. We'll get this thing parked. We'll go see if we have anything to sell. But we've got all of our fields should be at 100% fertilization, and just a matter of waiting for them to grow, which is great in my opinion because we still have 109 grand. And the good news with that is if I can't see. There we go. There's a pole in the one mirror. So I think I'm in the right general vicinity. Yep, there we go. Right, so let's lower that so we don't dump it. And we'll get rid of the weight, I think. I'm getting a little bit excited here. I'm going to have to go to work here very shortly. But at some point, I will be able to come back and buy some animals, which has been or at least some cows I think we're going to go with, just because I find them to be fairly lucrative. All right, let's turn that off and hop out real quick. Yeah, we still got the little skinny tire. Let's go put the regular tires back on. Well, let's double check. Yep, there we go. All the green fields that we own, including that grass field that we sort of absconded. I'm not sure if that's even the right word to use towards a field, but we certainly hijacked the use of it. And I'm not sure if hijack is the right word, but, it certainly makes sense that we would own that. I'm going to make stuff up if I don't get my way, right? But there we go. So we got all of our fields, fertilized. So let's take these tires off real quick. Oops, let's turn the thing back on. And then I wanted to check the pricing. Turn it back off. R. Customize. Let's go with the standard tires again. Say 0 price to switch back and forth. I really am glad I figured that out. Purchase for 0. Yes. Okay. Now again, I'm not sure if that's some sort of, function of this particular, we're not down at the shop. I don't know if that's something the map maker had to do special or if that works for every map, but when I get onto another map, I will be certain to check that out. If you noticed in my other Let's Play, if you've been watching that, you know, I haven't switched back and forth with the tires, and at times I've been on the silly little tires plowing fields and stuff. If I had known I could have bought the standard tires, I would certainly be willing to run back and forth. And I think that's, you know, this is, again, the little kind of touch that I think really, you know, whoever made this map exactly, I don't know the person's real name type thing, but, you know, it's just well thought out. I mean, that's just, you know, absolutely the kind of thing you would do on a farm. If you had a tractor, you would switch the tires. It'd certainly be worth the effort. Is that dog pooping? It certainly looks like that dog's pooping, doesn't it? I guess that's... You're rubbing your butt on the ground. Some dogs do that once in a while, I guess. Yeah. Well, anyway. All right. He's done. So there we go. Oh, that's right. We're going to check the pricing, and then we're... All right, so we've got pretty much just barley to sell, and we're not getting a super duper price, though this is a pretty good one, honestly. But we'll see. Well, you know, I think when we sold the wheat, it was close to 600, and I'm assuming this barley will get up to a similar price. We don't have any of these things yet. I'm not seeing any great pricing on them. Not that it matters that I'd see it, but just wanted to keep an eye on it. Yeah, it's, you know, this is really the goal, by the way, is to get into these greenhouses. That's where I was on the Canadian national map, and before I decided to switch. But this map really has everything the Canadian national map had, and it's just, I think, a more scenic place. Things are just better done, and that's not taken away from the map maker on Canadian national. He's working on it. I imagine he's up to version 17 by now. He was working hard on it and improving it since I first started it. He's really been doing a lot of work. So I thank him for his efforts. I thank all map makers. Thanks for the, you know, this map's just more polished, and, you know, I just find it, you know, more mature, so to speak. So hopefully Canadian National gets there. Maybe one day we'll even revisit it if he gets a lot more work done, and go from there. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We will be back, and I'm pretty sure we are going to go ahead and buy some cows, even though we don't really have enough grass at this moment. You know, we don't have enough silage, but we'll take our chances on them not being 100% until we get everything we need. But we've got 109,000, and that's a wonderful amount because that'll get us, I think, all of the equipment we need and a few cows on top of it. And then as time goes on, we can increase the cows, you know, as we go. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed it again. I think I just said that. Have a good day. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.